the question I have is, how much force does it take to injure or tear tissues?
Well, that's totally relevant to the individual. And
Okay, it's not a
yeah,
set.
yeah, has different tensile strengths.
Okay,
A weightlifter versus a 16-year-old.
that's true. That's true. That's true.
And then how much tensile strength was there at the point of impact?
Yes, yes, I get
They
you.
were in active range of motion. There's still a lot of room for absorption.
Okay,
But if
okay,
they were totally at the end of active and overpressure and physiological joint space, when the energy came in,
yeah,
how much energy did it take to cause anatomical failure?
right.
Very little.
Very little.
So those
So
are,
the reason I asked was because of like the amount of like you just suggest that there was tearing. I mean, obviously you could see it on the X-ray.
no, you don't suggest, it's quantifiable. It's either there or it's not there.
Say like there was like 5,500 pounds of force that was into the tissue because of the
I don't
accident.
care about the force. I'm measuring the anatomy.
Okay.
I'm looking at my lines of mensuration.
Okay, because I remember you telling me about like calculating the force if it was a loaded truck when it at impact, that was relative information.
Oh, no,
Am I getting mixed
that's
up?
the formula.
Okay.
Force equals mass times acceleration.
Yeah.
So that just, you can just multiply mass times acceleration to get the idea of force. That's all.
Okay, I thought that was some part of my
That's totally irrelevant to the
okay.
question you asked about, you know,
Tearing.
tearing, because that's totally relevant to the individual, the health in the individual,
I got you.
where the anatomy is relative to the force coming in, how much absorption is happening before it goes to anatomical failure. There's too many variables with that.
Understand. I understand now. Okay. Okay. Okay.
And by the way, a classic example that I use all the time, and you've probably seen it now, you'll have two people in an accident, like you maybe have the mother and a young child, or the
Hmm.
father and a young child
Yeah.
in the same accident. And who's always worse? The parent,
Mhm.
who always comes out less scathed. The little child. Why? How flexible is that little child compared to that adult?
Right.
How much more can you bend and twist a little child before you go into anatomical failure?
Good point. Yeah.
That's a classic example why you can't say, well, the ligaments bust at 10 pounds.
Right. That's what I was getting at. Right.
Like,
Right.
hell no, you can't do that.
Right. Okay.
I mean, you got the angle, you got the tissue health, you got where's it at in the anatomical failure plane? How much more energy can be absorbed? Look at all the variables.
There's a shit ton. Yeah. Yeah. I got you. I get you now. I get you. Okay.
And then what other injury magnifiers were there? Were the joints locked out? Were there defenses down? That create a whole different. That's I saw that all the time. If I had a child come in with a parent and they were in the accident,
Mhm.
child was barely had anything wrong with them, and it was the same injury.
Same force, same injury. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. In that case, that's why they're flexible as hell.
Yeah. Gotcha.
A little 14-year-old or 15-year-old. I mean, you can bend them
Right.
like a pretzel, and they'll jump up and
Right.
do a backflip.
Mhm.
Well, go ahead and try that with a 40-year-old.
Right.
The closest you could get to any comment is um, the tissues would tear at different forces,
Right.
but that's just because they're different. Like a nerve will tear differently than a disc, than a ligament. So that is true. But even then you go, well, what kind of force? Because that's like the disc. The disc is really unbelievably solid for compressive forces. And it's really pretty good for angulation forces.
Mm-hmm.
A disc is very weak for translation forces.
You're right. Yeah.
So yeah, you can't just say, the disc is that, the nerve is that, and this is when they break. I'm like, no,
I got you.
no, that's why you got to do the test.
Yes, and
Well,
that's
you
what
got to
we'll
measure
measure
the
it.
damn thing,
Yep.
and then quantify it, and then pay attention to active passive joint range of motion and look at injury magnifiers.